I am honored today to introduce neuroscientist and author Rachel S. Herz, Ph.D., as this year's Cultural Life Series speaker.
Thank you so much, Carissa, and thank you everyone for being here. As you can see, this is entitled Why You Eat What You Eat, a taste of some surprising sensory and psychological effects. I want to begin by explaining some surprising sensory effects. We normally say the word taste when we really mean flavor. And what flavor is one or more of the basic tastes plus aroma. Without having the experience of smell, we really do not have what we call taste. Now we say the word taste, but we really mean flavor, but it's actually your brain that makes flavor when it knits together the sensations of smell and taste from your mouth and puts it together in your brain. What we see in terms of what is on the plate influences how much we eat and how full we think we are and how satisfied we think we are with a meal. When there's a little bit of food on a large plate, it doesn't look like there's nearly as much food as if that same amount of food were on a small plate. Who thinks that this circle looks like it's bigger than this circle? And probably you do think that the circle on the right looks bigger than the circle on the left, but in fact, they are the exact same size. Next thing I want to talk about is some influences of sound. First study I'm going to tell you about was in fact a naturalistic experiment done in a real live restaurant. And what they found was, first of all, the amount of time spent dining was much higher when music was playing than when no music was playing. And on top of that, people spent more. Taste and emotion are intertwined. Depending upon the mood that you're in, your ability to taste things is going to change, and that's going to have an impact. When we're in a good mood, we have a heightened release of serotonin. When we are stressed and distressed, on the other hand, we have an increase in the neurochemistry of noradrenaline. And noradrenaline actually makes things taste more sour. Nudging is a behavioral method of guiding behavior towards a particular choice using indirect methods of reinforcement, suggestion, and manipulation. So the idea here is that repeated exposure to engaging signage can nudge behavior towards healthier choices. So I now want to finish off by talking a little bit about how food shopping behavior is influenced by what happens when we're in a grocery store. And so what this study looked at was, as a function of whether people brought their own bag or not, what did they buy? What was found is, first of all, unsurprisingly, when people bring their own bag, they tend to buy more organic product. But what was surprising was that when people brought their own bags, they also bought more chips and more treats and more sweets and so on. And the reason for this is because, as a function of doing something responsible, they felt that they could give themselves a little treat. So just to summarize what I have sped through telling you about today, and I want to thank you all for listening and zooming in, and I'm happy to take any questions now.
Our first question is, what would be the evolutionary advantage of other senses, vision and hearing, for instance, affecting smell and taste and changing the true impact of on smell and taste?
So we always experience food in a context. So depending upon the context that we're in, we're going to have a different interpretation of what it is that we're consuming. And that context can be actually very informative. So I'll give you an example from research that I've done, but also give you a more naturalistic example. Is, let's say you were to smell something and you're in a fine French restaurant and you see the waiter walking around with a cheese plate and you sense a certain aroma and you go, aha, that must be cheese. I think I'd like to eat some cheese. Now let's just say it's 2 a.m. and you're walking behind a dive bar and you smell that same aroma and you think, uh-oh, that's probably vomit. I definitely don't want to go anywhere near that. So the point is that the context in which we experience smells is very important for giving us the meaning of what it is that we might be smelling, because our sense of smell and our perception of smell is not fixed.
Thank you for that. That's all the time we have at this point for questions. I'd like to thank our audience for asking such interesting and thoughtful questions. So at this time, on behalf of everyone at JWU, our student speaker, Carissa Brand, the John Hazen White College of Arts and Sciences, and the university, I would like to recognize Dr. Herz by sharing a gift of appreciation for her participation today in Johnson & Wales University's Cultural Life Series.